The show for today. The topic is the Metropolitan Nashville Public School System, and we're fortunate to have with us the director of the public schools, Dr. Pedro Garcia. And of course, Dr. Garcia, before we had our first commercial break, we were talking about some of the things dealing with your perception of Nashville and the school system upon arrival here in Tennessee. Let's give you, during this segment, an opportunity to talk about some of your goals and some of your objectives. That is to think about some of the things over the next 8 minutes that you'd like to achieve in the school system, whether it's a long-range goal or whether they're short-range goals or whatever, and your objectives.
Yeah, well, from that perspective. You know, the first thing I can tell you is from the system is poised in a position for change. I mean, if you look at the finalists, one was the lady from Minnesota, she was offered the job, me from California, a gentleman from Cincinnati, Ohio, and one from Dallas. Now, if you can figure that 4 people all from out of state, that tells you that somebody's looking for change, because the people from inside the system didn't get anywhere. If you couple that with the fact that we have low student achievement, which translates to a low state report card grade of a D or an F, we have none of the 4-year goals that the board said 4 years ago were met, plus the chamber gave the district a grade of unacceptable. What that means is status quo is going out the window. So, you know, my role is to be a change agent. My role is to bring change. Now, you know, change is uncomfortable. Not everybody likes change. But my role is to bring change and bring change that is effective into our #1 goal, which is improve student achievement, so that our children achieve their potential and achieve the skills that they need to have in order to be successful, productive citizens. And to do whatever it takes to make that happen. And our board is committed to do that. So our goals are really reading. #1, reading. You got to teach the kids to read and read at kindergarten level, not wait till 3rd grade to read. Kindergarten, reading, and then begin to catch up the kids that are behind. You know, we got kids in the 8th grade reading at 4th grade level, or in the 9th grade reading at 3rd grade level. We got to put massive interventions for kids and programs to make that happen. Reduce the suspensions, all the special ed. The kid that belongs in special ed, they ought to get the services. But the kid that doesn't belong in special ed, they should not be in special ed.
Are you saying that many students are misplaced in special education?
Yeah, sure. Oh, absolutely. The national average is 10%. You go to McGavock High, and 24% of the kids are special ed. Hillwood High, 30%. Now, either something's wrong with the water in Nashville, or we're over-identifying kids. You know, that's just my, there's no way you can have a 30% when the national average is 10. I mean, it's not possible.
Well, for the benefit of our audience, what do you mean when you talk about special ed? I mean, how does that fit into the school system?
Well,
exactly, what are those students? Who are those students?
There's a whole variety of classifications for special ed, but bottom line is a kid that is not functioning in a regular class. For whatever reason, they identified as having disabilities that is keeping them from learning the curriculum, the regular curriculum. But what happens a lot of times is a kid is let's say a kid doesn't learn to read by 3rd grade. So the teacher said, well, there's something wrong with this kid. He's not learning to read. He should learn to read by now. So he must be special ed. All of a sudden they do they study, they do a case, they look at it and they say, okay, well, he hasn't learned to read, they put him in special ed. And what happens, there's nothing wrong with the kid. You know, I was over at Glencliff High and I was talking to the teacher, and the teacher said, you see that kid over there? I said, yeah. He says, that kid helped us program all the routers in the school for all of our technology and taught the kids, all the kids in school, the binary system in order to be able to program those routers. I didn't even understand what she was talking about. The next thing she said is that kid's special ed. And it's been special ed for a long time, and people think he's stupid. And I see what happens a lot of times is you put a label on a student, and it takes an act of God to get him off. But it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the child. It just means that he probably somewhere down the road had difficulty in reading because he wasn't ready to learn when he entered kindergarten. Who knows? And I think a lot of times that's one of the things that we need to address. So I think we look at safety of kids as well. You know, that's one of the parents' major concern. Are the schools safe? Is my kid safe? Is he going to come back the same way I send him? Try to get parents involved in the community. Try to get the community understanding what we're doing. So we're developing a strategic master plan, a strategic plan that will be for 5 years, and develop all the action steps to make that happen. putting all the structures curriculum-wise so that the teachers understand what is to be taught. What we do, and I brought some people with me from California, but what we do is we have a very focused curriculum based on national standards of what kids are supposed to know and be able to do. We begin with grade 12, we bring it all the way down to kindergarten. We start with, right now we're doing reading and writing. We'll be done by the end of this academic year. Next year we do science and math. Following year we do social science and science, and then we do the arts. And so at any point in time, any teacher, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, knows what is my child, the children in my classroom supposed to know and be able to do in order to meet what is expectations, so that the teacher in the 4th grade, so the teacher in the 5th grade can have those kids prepare, so when the student graduates in 12th grade, it has the skill. So that's the first thing. The second thing we do is we make up assessments. So we do constant monitor of progress. See, a lot of times if your kid enters kindergarten and you don't test them until 3rd grade, then what that means is you had 3 years. Maybe the student learned it or didn't learn it, but you can't find in 3rd grade that the student did not master the material in kindergarten. You got to do it in kindergarten. You got to do it every 2 weeks. Because if you fail in kindergarten to learn the material every 2 weeks, the gap between what you should know and what you don't know, it may be this big. But if you wait to 3rd grade, it's this big. You wait to 12th grade, it's impossible.
And most of the students that are called in there are generally socially promoted.
Exactly. And so you end up with kids in the 11th grade reading in 3rd grade level. And so you have to catch them up right there. So you got to constant monitor progress. The only way you do that is you constantly assess. And the magic question is, are my kids on target, and what am I doing about it? And what I ask the principals to do is to go into the classrooms all the time, and you ask your teachers the question, who's off target, and what are you doing about it? Who's off target, and what are you doing about it? So you're constantly figuring out who's not mastering the material, and what am I putting in place in order to catch them up? Not to slow them down, but to make sure they're caught up. And so you constantly do that. So you do standards, you do the assessments. The next thing is you make sure you have the materials. You got to have the books, the materials, everything, so that teacher has everything. Level reading books, all the things that are necessary. And the fourth thing is you got to train your staff and teach them and instruct them on what the standards are and how to teach them, etc. You put those 4 things in place, believe me, it works. And you know, when we were in California, that's exactly what was going on.
Let me interrupt here for this second commercial break.
Okay.
After we come back, we'll give you an opportunity to finish those thoughts. So we'll be back with our audience following this short commercial break.